live, baby. We're live. Except that we're not technically really live. It's pre-recorded. But yes, we are live now.
Oh,
Dude, first of all, I gotta say, I was forced to buy his book for him to come on my channel, just so everyone knows.
I
Right
actually
here.
made him. Oh, I made him
There
buy
you
3
go.
copies. Actually, that's the
Yeah.
minimum amount of copies you have to buy to get me on.
Exactly. Stop being a broke loser. Let's talk about that real quick, man. So I noticed your book was under $20 on Amazon.
I
So
know.
I'm assuming you're not getting a big cut from that because every single other person I know, if they're not represented by like a company, when they put their book on Amazon, they charge minimum $45. So
So
what made you decide to charge only 15? I think that's how much I paid.
yeah, so I think it's like 13.99 or I'm horrible. I don't even know the price of my own freaking book, but it's like $12 or $13. So every time I sell a book, I get roughly $5 in profit, depending on what country the person buys it from. So I'm not making a fortune, but then again, I don't want to charge 20, 30, $40 for a freaking book. To me, that's kind of insane.
Yeah, that's actually better returns than I expected. I was expecting maybe like a $2 or something off of each sale. So there's really no reason for people to charge an arm and a leg for their books. 'Cause I'm telling you, man, like I love buying books, and I saw your book, and honestly, it's pretty funny. Honestly, you guys should check this out. Uh, Stop being a broke loser. Why this title?
I don't know. It just kind of matches my humor. I mean, that's just how I talk. That's how I act. And I kind of wanted to make a book that was, you know, something that would catch somebody's eye. Because if you're trying to, fix your personal finances, you go to the bookstore and all these books like, oh, fix your finances or the rich millennial. And to me, that's just boring and lame. So, stop being a broke loser. That kind of jumps out at you. It's like, whoa, what is this? Somebody will at least look at it or pick it up and, kind of, see if they're interested or not.
Yeah, absolutely. Are these also in stores? Can you buy them like at Barnes and Nobles or anything, or just specifically Amazon?
Only Amazon, man. I keep it super simple. I don't have to
Amazon
ship them.
exclusive.
Yeah, I don't have to ship them. I don't have to package them. I don't have to do anything. Somebody buys it, Amazon
Oh,
gives me a cut.
so they print this out and do everything for you.
Yeah, I literally did nothing to get that book to you.
Wow. Okay, I thought maybe you had to like buy a bunch of copies, send them to the different warehouses, and then go from there. So they just
No,
printed it
dude.
on the spot. Dude, it's pretty good quality, I gotta say. I was not expecting this, but hey, even a $5 profit, that's pretty damn good. You guys, other people out there, you should take note because how greedy do you gotta be? I mean, geez, 15 bucks, anybody can buy it.
Dude, if somebody's
Just saying.
charging $40, they are making a fortune off of you. A fortune.
Yeah, I just assumed they were charging so much because they were only getting such a small cut, but it is what it is. Hey man, but before we even get further into this conversation, please tell people who you are.
So I am Christopher Belly. Christopher Bell, actually. I call myself Christopher Belly because there's a certain YouTuber that doesn't like me and I don't like him, and he calls me Belly Boy. But my name is Christopher Bell. I work in tax in the real world. I actually have a real job. And I'm an index fund investor. I like to buy total world stock market index funds in my tax advantage accounts. And I want to spread the message to everybody. That's kind of why I'm here on YouTube. Plus, I get kind
So
of a
you,
sick pleasure from making fun of people.
yeah, because so you're actually a certified CPA.
I am a certified CPA accountant.
Look at that. So you actually know what you're talking about. The funny thing is, I've been watching your channel, and you're a troll, dude. You're a troll. Like, there's no, you're a troll. You're a troll, and that's cool. But people enjoy that about you. My question to you is, when did you become this character, the strongman personal finance? Which, by the way, that's the whole thing too. I want to talk about your name. Why strongman personal finance? Do you actually lift weights and stuff? You do the strongman competitions?
So I don't do strongmans, but obviously I lift weights. I mean, look at my biceps, bro. Come on. I mean, I'm not I'm not one of those crazy guys that takes like 20 supplements. I actually don't take any supplements, but like I enjoy running. I enjoy, lifting weights a couple times a week. I'm just like an average guy that likes to work out, but I just have a naturally, hot body. So, uh, and another
Because
thing is it kind of motivates you to stay in shape because if your channel strongman personal finance and then you turn into like a fat blob, it's just going to be ridiculous. So
yeah, no,
that's kind of what
that's hilarious.
inspired me.
Yeah, but then I heard you in the most recent video you dropped. You were talking about you're going to try to start getting away from calling out all these grifters, which are people who kind of like take advantage of people to scam artists, the people who sell you all the courses and tell you can go from zero to $1 million in 2 days. Those people. But you initially when you started your channel, you were saying that you came on to actually start educating people, and somehow you fell into the whole trolling space where you're just calling out these grifters nonstop, right?
Yeah, so when I first started on YouTube, I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. I had terrible thumbnails. My video edits were garbage, and I'm just not a good editor. Period. So I actually don't edit my videos at all now. But yeah, when I first started, I just put out like random information. Oh, what's a 401k? What's an index fund? And eventually, I was like, well, my channel's not growing. I'm not getting any views. Nobody cares. So I had the idea of I could teach people by talking about the hot topic of the day or talk about a big YouTuber and then drop in lessons. So before you know it, I mean, a big reason my channel took off was, and I'm not saying I'm a huge channel, but a big reason I accelerated growth was when Meet Kevin sold his portfolio. And I started really hammering Meet Kevin really hard. And I got a lot of success from that because if you put Meet Kevin in your title, you're going to get a lot of views. And ever since then, I mean, I've just been kind of like, going after grifters nonstop. But I'm kind of at the point where it's just getting boring. I mean, once you talk about somebody 20 times,
It gets
there's
old.
no anymore.
Yeah. Is there a reason why you specifically went after like Meet Kevin? And the other one that I see you constantly talking about as well is a guy named Jeremy from, was it Jeremy Financial Fortress or something like that?
Yeah, Jeremy Financial Education. So he has a company called Financial Fortress.
Oh,
So
okay.
the main reason I targeted Kevin was he was pumping up a lot of what I thought were awful investments. I mean, I'm a
Agreed.
CPA. I'm not super experienced in accounting. I mean, I have the license and I have like, just under a year of experience in public accounting. I used to work for the government in accounting before that. But like I would look at the financial statements of these companies and I'd be like, oh my God, they're losing money hand over fist. Everything's getting worse every single quarter. And these guys were saying, oh, or Kevin was saying, oh, this stock's going to go to the moon. It's going to 10x. And to me, it just kind of pissed me off because I knew that was BS. I knew a lot of these stocks were eventually going to implode. So that was my main motivation, a big part of my motivation to talk about him and Jeremy. Jeremy's another scammer that used to charge up to $20,000 to give people stock advice. And then you look at all the stock
Jeez.
advice that he's pumping out, it's garbage.
Have you actually met anyone who spent that amount of money on that guy who reached out to you?
I know people that have spent thousands of dollars for Jeremy. I don't know anybody personally that spent 20K. And Jeremy doesn't charge 20K anymore, but I know he used to because I actually called his organization like right in the middle of the pandemic. And they gave me like a list of tiers you could sign up for. Like, and every tier you get more access to Jeremy, blah, 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 blah. And the highest tier went up to $20,000. So I'm sure somebody paid that. And they might even be charging based on your net worth because they ask you how much money you already have invested before you even do the interview.
The typical marketing tactic that these people do. Okay, so it's one of those. How much money do you make? Are you married? All that stuff, right? That way they can gauge how much they could possibly charge you.
Yeah.
Uh,
If you're a multimillionaire, I mean, oh, 20K, whatever.
yeah, the interesting thing is you said he organization. So he's not an individual YouTuber. He's actually like an organization. There's people that work for him.
Yeah. So Jeremy has his own YouTube channel, but he has this business called Financial Fortress. And while explicitly it's not about giving financial advice, I mean, they're very clear on their website. We don't give financial advice. Everything is your decision. If you join his organization, you get access to, videos and, you get access to like live sessions with Jeremy and then he'll review your portfolio. And when you're kind of in that whole, I would almost call it a cult. I mean, you're obviously
Mhm.
going to be heavily influenced by what Jeremy and his I don't know if they're employees or contractors, but he has like employees and contractors. You're going to be heavily influenced by those people, and you're probably going to end up buying the same freaking stocks that he's doing.
Which was like from when I watched Tattoo Chef is one of them. He seems to be really bullish on that to this day for some reason. What's another one? I think wasn't he
Honest,
honest? Yeah,
yeah.
God, honest. Yeah, I have my experience with that one. So it's just I don't know Jeremy very well. I do know me Kevin because I used to watch him before he got into the stock market stuff. I know he blew up during the pandemic, and it sounds like Jeremy did as well. It sounds like everyone pretty much blew up during the pandemic because it didn't really matter what you picked; it went up, right?
Mhm.
Most stuff 4, 5x in a heartbeat. So it's interesting to see. And then all of a sudden, all these companies have collapsed 85%, 75%, 65%. And they're kind of sitting there with their dicks in their hand and have to figure out what to sell next. And I mean, what's next? I don't know. It's still pushing the same stuff, I guess. So, but there's people out there like you who will not let them go. You continue to basically put your boot on their throat. You even have funny intro videos with
Yeah, people
Jeremy.
actually made those for me. I
Oh,
had a
wait,
little
I was going to ask you about that. I was like,
yeah.
where did you get them from? Did you go to Fiverr or something, or did people just made it for you and then sent it to you? That's
No,
hilarious. You got to
I
bring
was
that
like,
there.
"Man, I need some intros." So I was like, "You know what, fan?" Because I know a lot of my fans dislike these people. So I was like, "Hey, I'll do a contest, and the winner will get $50, and the third place will get like $15." And about 7, 8 people sent me videos, and I had the
Mhm.
contest, and now I got a bunch of material I can use.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. I know that you used to be in the army, right?
I did. I'm still in the reserves, but as you can tell, I haven't done duty in a long time. So,
Oh, okay. Yeah, so we have some stuff in common.
oh,
Actually, yes, yes. I got out last year. I was in for 15 years, Air Force Special Ops. Did that. When I say special ops, this guy's understand. I did the RPA stuff, so I wasn't like on the ground. I was on the ground for the first 4 years of my career, but after that, I was pretty much doing intelligence work using RPAs and stuff like that with special ops. So when I heard that you was in the army, I was like, oh, we have something in common. I mean, different branch, of course, but what did you do in the army?
I was infantry.
Oh, okay. So you were boots on the ground. Got you. Did you
Yep.
ever go to Iraq or Afghanistan?
I went to Afghanistan from 2014 to 2015. So it was about a 9-month deployment.
Oh, okay. Yeah, mine was 8 months. I went from 2006 to 2007, or was it 2007 to 2008? Something like that. But yeah, I was in Iraq. So camp, I'm not sure if you're familiar with that place, but it was basically an army facility. You guys' facilities are shit for one. Like the army, like it's
Yeah,
not
that's
nice. You go to Air Force, Navy, and it's like it's all nice. And we were like the first like Air Force guys because I was a cop, security forces, which is essentially infantry for the first 4 years of my career in the Air Force. And we were like the test dummies to get trained by the army to do an army mission, which was in Camp Buka. And then just a facility, I was like, oh my god, I thought I signed up for the Air Force because they always said chair force, and here I am doing army shit. And then I went to the intel world, and that was a whole other story. So but when did you join?
so I was an ROTC cadet. So I mean, I guess theoretically I joined in 2007, and then I graduated college 2011, and then I was active duty from the end of 2011 to about the end of 2016. So I did roughly 5 years and some change on active duty, and then I jumped over to the reserves, and I did like a little bit of civil affairs, and then I
Mhm.
now I'm a human resources officer. So I'm like the chairist of the chair, the pogus member.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Why work your ass off to get paid just like the grunt that you used to be? It's same
Oh, I
same pay
feel
because
you,
I'll
man.
be
I used
some.
to be jealous. Like, man, this dickhead's getting the same pay as I am, and I'm working, and this guy's just chilling in his office. It's like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's exactly why I ended up switching to the intel field. But it was by pure luck. But I remember being in Iraq in formation, and we had an intel guy who kind of like brief us on intel stuff. I remember pulling him aside. I was like, "Do you ever go outside to wire?" He's like, "No, man." It's like, "So what do you do here?" He's like, "I just brief you guys. So on my 8 hour shift, I might brief you guys at a morning shift. So that's 5 minutes each. And I'm chill for the rest of the time." I was like, "That's a
it's a
career field I need to get into." But then I ended up
deal.
in special ops. So, and that was way different than the traditional intel stuff. So very very interesting. Why did you end up getting out?
Honestly, I was just tired of it. Like, I didn't want to do 20 years. I didn't like the lifestyle. I didn't want to be constantly going to the field and constantly
Mhm.
deploying in the infantry for the rest of my life. So it just didn't really interest me. Like, I'm more of a bookish numbers kind of guy. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to do something that had to do with like finance or whatever. And I settled on accounting. So that was a big motivation to get out.
Were you married during that time when you were in the army or no?
Yeah, so I was married. I'm married now, but I was married once before, and I was actually dual military. So me and my ex-wife
Oh,
were both in the military at the same time, and she got stationed in Germany right when I was getting out. So I actually went over and joined her in Germany. I stayed there for a year before we sadly split up. But I got to hang out in Germany for a year and did. I was a financial advisor briefly, and then for the rest of the time, I just did the reserves and went to school for accounting.
oh, okay. And that's when so you just kind of realize like the lifestyle wasn't for you, and you're like, let me get into the finance space, and then end up going to school to become a CPA.
Yeah, because like when I got out of the army, I mean, I was infantry. I had no skills. I didn't.
Hmm.
I was like, how am I going to get a job? It was actually terrifying, and I was like, I am going to find whatever I need to find to make sure I can always have a job. So it was kind of like an obsession. Like I eventually found accounting, and then I just went balls to the wall. I got bachelor's, master, CPA license. I got a government certification. I got everything just to make sure that I could always be, employed in the private sector.
Which is very smart. Unfortunately, a lot of people who go into the military with jobs like infantry, you really don't have any specific skill that kind of translates into the civilian sector, unless you want to work at like a gun range or something, or work for doing stuff over in Iraq for like BlackRock or whatever the organization was called at that time. I don't know what they call it now.
They call it
Um,
academy, actually,
what's it
or at
called?
least they did. Because when I was deployed, we were in southern Afghanistan for the last 6 months of my deployment, and they actually had BlackRock, but they were called Academy. They were guarding our base for us, which is pretty cool.
Okay. Yeah, they went through a lot of turmoil and name change. That's all they really did is change their name. That's pretty much it. Same stuff,
Yeah,
just change
change
their
your name
name.
and everything's good,
Yeah, like everything's good. Just keep doing what you were doing before, but just shh, you got a different name. So change that shirt, that polo shirt, change it up. So that's awesome, dude. So you end up meeting your wife, or your new wife here in after you got out of the military. Did you meet her in college or something, or?
So I got out of the military. Well, I got out of the military. I went to Germany. First marriage didn't work out, so I came back, and I was actually with my parents for like 4 months, which was pretty pitiful because I was like I was studying accounting, and eventually I applied and I got a job working for the federal government here in Hampton Roads, Virginia. So I came down here, and then at that I met my current wife at work. So we kind of like met up at work, and then eventually got married, and now we have 2 kids.
Oh, congratulations, man, on the two kids. Is that the reason why you are in a garage?
That is 100% why I'm in the garage. And I need to get a green screen. I mean, everybody's get a green screen, and I'm like, I know, but I'm just lazy, man. I mean, eventually I'll get one because it's part of the YouTube. You got to have a nice background. So,
Yes.
but yeah, I mean, I got my son in one room. I'm in a 3-bedroom house. Son in one room, daughter in the other one eventually, and then me and my wife's room. So I have nowhere else to go.
Yeah, dude, I totally feel your pain. I have 3 kids, and I had an office initially. That's where my whole setup was. And my wife decided to go to school, and somehow I got kicked out of my own fucking office. And then I was just moving from room to room. Now I have my trade desk and stuff is in the loft now. And I just decided, you know what? My oldest son is only here half the time anyway, so I'm gonna take his room and just change it up into the studio. So when he comes, pull out the bed back there, and it's good to go. And I have a green screen, just like you. People are telling me get a green screen, so
Yeah,
I
and
got a green
sadly, I have
screen
a
as
boy
well.
and a girl, so I can't like. And I mean, if I did have 2 boys, I'd be bunking them up as soon as I could. But
Oh yeah,
boy and a
yeah. I
girl, so
mean,
I'm kind
if
of screwed.
they're young, right?
So yeah, so the boy's like just over 1, and the girl's like 3 months. So I mean, like I could bunk
Oh,
them
you could
for.
totally bunk them. Yeah, I did mine. I bunked
Yeah,
them.
but I mean, we already set up her room, and my son's room's already set up, so it's just whatever. I'm in the garage. I'm here. Whatever. I'm not moving
Yeah,
again.
you're spoiling them. You're spoiling them. But you get in a little bit in your background, especially since you seem to have found a space that you really enjoy working for, which is in the finance sector. Did you grow up in a household where finance was like a continued conversation on a daily basis, or how did that work in your household?
Not really. So I mean, we weren't like. I guess we talk about stuff every once in a while, but my dad was in the military. I mean, he was like all gung ho army, and my mom,
Mm,
was a stay at home mom. So I mean, finance wasn't like a big thing, finance accounting. I just kind of discovered it on my own because one of my dad's friends actually got me a book called The Automatic Millionaire by David Bach when I was 15
mhm.
years old for my birthday. And I read the book and I was reading about like, oh, mutual funds. And if you just dollar cost average, put a little bit of money aside and you save diligently, you can be a millionaire one day. And that kind of like shocked me. I was like, what, really? That's all I have to do? So I kept studying personal finance throughout high school and then into college. And then as soon as I graduated college, I started saving like crazy because I was like, oh, I just have to save and I can be a millionaire. And that's basically what I've been doing ever since.
And did you ever play around with trading or investing into individual stocks? Because I know you keep calling yourself a boggle-headed, what's the word? The boggle-headed
Boglehead.
investor? Boglehead investor, which is a term for Vanguard, right? For Vanguard investors.
Yeah, so Jack Bogle was kind of the pioneer of the first index fund. He worked for Vanguard, and eventually, obviously, index funds exploded. So he's kind of like almost the father of. I mean, I'm sure there's like academics that have like laid the groundwork for index funds, but he's really the one that really brought it out to the forefront, really helped it become popular. So if you kind of follow his philosophy, you refer to yourself as a Boglehead, which is just you buy total market index funds and tax advantage accounts. You don't read the news. You just focus on maximizing your income, lowering your expenses, and not worrying about the market. So 95% of my portfolio is in a global index fund. It's called VT ETF. And then I have
You mean
5%
VTI?
VT. So VTI is the US stock market.
Mm-hmm.
VT is the global, all stocks in the world. So I have like about 60% US and about 40% international.
Oh, okay. So that's pretty much all that you said. That's 95% of your portfolio. What's the other 5%?
Yeah. So the other 5% is just a couple individual stocks. Really, it's just mostly Alibaba. And then like maybe a couple thousand, and like other random stocks that I just bought. But the vast majority of my money is in index funds, and I'm gonna keep it that way because to me, it's just not worth the risk of thinking you're a genius and putting a bunch of money in individual stocks, and then come to find out you made a bad decision and you cost yourself, potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars in retirement.
So do you think that's the reason why so many people lose money? It's just they're trying to always beat the market or try to create their own ETF?
Basically, I mean, people they think they're smarter than they are, and if you really think about what the market is, it's like thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of individuals interacting, each with their own, ideas, ambitions, and motivations. So, and if you think about, the global market and the global economy, it's so complex. I don't think anybody understands it fully. I mean, nobody really can understand the global economy to such an extent that they can really predict most things and potentially beat the market. And if you just look at the data, I mean, even the professionals, after you subtract fees and taxes, over long periods of time, they underperform index funds. So, in my opinion, it's better. Hey, if the pros can't beat the market in the long run, screw it. I'll just buy the market.
Yeah, and you should probably, since you've been investing for a while, because you said going all the way back to your early 20s, you're sitting at a pretty good price then. So this whole bear market won't really affect you at all.
Oh, I don't give a crap. And I honestly hope that we have like a massive crash. I really do, because I'm not selling my stocks, my index funds for 30 years. I mean, I'm 32 now, so I have to live my life again, basically, before I even sell this stuff to fund my retirement. So if stocks crash, they drop 50%, I can just keep buying and buying and buying and buying. And hopefully 30 years from now, the stock market will be much higher and I'll be that much richer. So the day-to-day fluctuations, the Federal Reserve, all the crap that goes on, inflation, I really could give a rip about that. That's why I don't really talk about it, because I just don't care. It doesn't matter in the long run. As long as the world's going to be a better place in 30 years, I think I'm going to be fine.
Are, are you worried about, besides just like the drop? So you don't even really care like how far it's going to drop, because again, I guess I would assume your average cost per share is really really low in VT. So the market would basically have to completely collapse for you to even break even, I guess, at that point, right?
Yeah, and like I said, even if it does, I mean, in
It's
30
whatever.
years, in 2052, I think the stock market's going to be a lot better. I think the world's going to be a lot wealthier and more productive. I mean, of course, there could be a nuclear war, a pandemic
Mhm.
wipes out 80% of the population. That's something that would, obviously negatively affect my net worth. But as long as everything is generally peaceful and better, I think my portfolio will be better.
Was it a process that you had to take to get to that point where you're that patient, you just don't give a shit? Because realistically, I know a lot of people, at least the communities that I was around, right? Because I just got really into investing and trading like 2 years ago. I got into investing 2.5, 3 years ago. I didn't take trading serious until probably like a year ago. But I know that a lot of us didn't really experience a bear market. All we saw was, everything went up 2020, right? And now seeing that everything is going down, most people are probably back at square one where they started investing in back in 2020. So I see a lot of people either selling all their stuff, getting out the game, or just completely quitting, or constantly trying to find the next big thing so they could have some crazy return. You just were like, I'm just gonna put in a total market and I'm just gonna call it a day. I don't give a shit. You never went through the phase of like, what if I grab this? What if I grab that? What if I do this? What if I sell this? You never went through that phase at all?
I didn't know how to buy an individual stock until 2020. I
Oh,
literally since the
jeez.
day I'm not even joking. I was like, "How what is this, like, limit order crap?" I literally just had a, automatic contribution since the day I started working going into my retirement plans, and then I didn't even really care about the stock market. I mean, I just kinda, like, went to work and partied and had fun and did army stuff, and every paycheck, more and more money went in. And after like 10 years, I'm like, wow, I got a decent amount of money and I didn't do freaking jack. And I didn't stress about anything. So I know this stuff works. You just have to, honestly, you just have to almost ignore the market and just, find another hobby if you really want to have this kind of investment philosophy.
So speaking of hobbies, do you have anything else that you're interested in besides like your job, your family, and doing YouTube? Like, do you have
Yeah.
any other
So
businesses?
I do have a tutoring business. I've really slowed it down recently. I tutor accounting on a website called Wyzan.com. You're basically an independent contractor, and students will go on there, or CPA candidates will go on there, and they'll search for tutors, and you can apply for jobs. And I had some pretty good business going on before I went into public accounting. Like I was getting a couple grand a month in side money. It was pretty freaking good.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
it got wild.
I'm guessing you they got cheaper labor, people in India to do your job.
Because like the one downside is you actually have to like meet the student on the platform. So you can't like
Okay.
subcontract out your work. It's like you and the student, like just kind of like this, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
And but eventually I had to really slow it down because I took a job. I quit the government and I took a job in public accounting and tax. And I joined right before tax season. And then once tax season started and I was working 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, I didn't have time to freaking tutor. So I kind of let that go by the wayside. But school year's starting back. And if I can maybe fit in a tutoring session every now and then, I'll try. But I only have so much time. I go to work, I hang out with my family, I do a YouTube video for maybe 30 minutes or an hour.
Yep.
That doesn't leave me much time to tutor.
Yeah, you do your YouTube videos really simple. It's just they put up the camera and start talking, and that's it. Like I
Hmm.
remember, like, because I got to know you through Echoes, right? So he apparently was a fan of my channel, and I ended up commenting on his, and he was like, "Dude, I love your stuff" or whatever. So that's how I ended up meeting you and then the rest of the group of people, like investing with Cole and etc. And you guys do it so simple, man. I was apparently doing it completely wrong. I'm doing editing, doing all this stuff. It takes me like a week to do one video, and you guys just put up the camera, start talking, and you guys get great views. So obviously, I was doing something wrong with that.
Well, I mean, it really depends. Like you see all the biggest channels, a lot of them don't do what I do. They do editing, very nice editing, and they're
Mhm.
very scripted. I
They
guess
have a
when you
nice
get to
background.
yeah, like this is like the most unprofessional garbage thing you could possibly imagine. But I just don't give a shit. I'll be perfectly honest. But yeah, if you want to get huge on YouTube, you want 500,000 subscribers, you probably got to do a little bit of editing. So if that ever happens to me, maybe I'll do it. But right now, I just enjoy coming on here and just you know running my mouth basically because all I have to do is turn on the camera and boom, I just talk for 10, 15 minutes and I'm done. And then I just go back in my house.
Yeah. Speaking of your YouTube, you have some really unique followers. It seems like you have a lot of odd people. You and Echoes, man, like you guys have weird followers. Like there's a guy named Fuhat that I've seen, which is he shows up on you guys' channel. You have that beef with the guy named Scott, right? Scott Schaefer or whatever. And what happened? How did that first of all, how did you guys even start beef? Because didn't you guys at one point all get along?
So Scott, like I didn't really even know who Scott was. And then all of a sudden, like I can't even remember all the details, but maybe he started commenting on my videos. Somehow I found his channel. And I noticed he was, doing basically the same thing I was, like putting clown hair on people. And I was like, whatever, I don't really care. And I kind of thought of him as like, oh, maybe we can bring him into the fold. He can join our little group, you know?
Mhm.
And then eventually, it kind of just shook out that Scott wasn't there to like collaborate and, work with you and, help you take down the grifters. He's basically there, or his intention is to like become the king of, YouTube finance, or YouTube grifter slang is what he calls it.
Grifter
So
slang.
yeah, and he just did some weird stuff. Like he's very competitive, he's very weird, and we're pretty sure that he bought a bunch of bots to subscribe to our channels because we were all beefing with him, and then it all happened simultaneously that me, Echoes, and Cole all got like 1,000. Well, I got like 1,000 subscribers out of nowhere, and then Echoes and Cole got like 10,000 each, and it was all at the same time. So we're like, who could have
Mm.
possibly done this? It's probably Scott. Can't prove it, but it was probably him.
Exactly, and then that messes with the algorithm, which then will kinda get you shadow banned on YouTube, where you don't really know why your viewership isn't going up because it kinda kicks in the red flag, thinking like, "Wait a second, this person is trying to inflate their channel to make them seem like they're something they're not."
Yeah, because like I was already monetized by that point, so I was good. But Cole, he wasn't monetized. He only had like 800 subscribers, and then he shot up to like a 10K, and then it dropped back down. And now I think he's sitting at like 4 or 5K. And he
Mhm.
applied for monetization and he got denied. So whoever bought these bots, Scott,
Knew that. Yeah.
yeah, screwed the guy over horribly because this guy's been on YouTube, trying to get monetized for freaking months or years, maybe.
Ah, that's sad. But hey, man, there's always YouTube beef, right? Especially since you're in that space of calling out grifters. The funny thing was, I'm revamping my channel, so by the time this interview drops, you'll see some different characters that I'm planning on playing on my YouTube channel. I was gonna have one character which was just gonna call out grifters, kind of like what you guys are doing. Not specifically. I mean, me Kevin was on my list as well as some other people, but I was just gonna go through them one time, and that was it. And then I decided, you know what? I had a good conversation with a friend. He was just telling me, do you want to really bring that negative energy into your channel? Because that can sometimes bring negative energy, and you never know what people may do to you if if they feel like you're crossing a line or you're messing with their money. They can end up hurting you, whether it's shootings or stabbings and stuff. Because I also am in the kind of like the rap culture area as well, so things can go really left, or you get sued and stuff like that. Because I know like me, Kevin threatened to sue all you guys at one point, right?
So he actually left me out because me and Kevin are best friends now. So, but yeah, he threatened
Yeah,
he threatened to sue Echoes from above. I didn't think he wasn't gonna do it. I mean, it was just kind of
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
for
No, because
over.
I remember when that happened. I had just gotten to know Echoes, and I saw his face, and I texted him, was like, "Dude, relax. He's not gonna really see you." He's like, "I've been down that road before. As long as you didn't lie about somebody or make false claims, you'll be fine. You'll be fine." So,
Yeah, that's
but
why I'm
yeah,
not
so
worried about getting sued because it's just like everybody that I talk about, I have clear evidence that they're frauds. So at the end of the
correct,
day, go
correct.
ahead and sue me, bro. I'll freaking win. I'll make you pay my lawyer fees.
Yeah, yeah. But then it can mess with your YouTube channel, like buying, bots or whatever, or spoofing your account. That really annoys me because I did a bad review on one of the trading groups. Because part of my channel, I go from trading groups to trading groups and I review them. I'm not doing it anymore. But I gave one of the guys I was actually really cool with. But then as I got into the space and I started doing my YouTube channel and like learning about the marketing behind it and how people grift, I realized I was like, damn, this dude that I'm really cool with, he's really grifting people, and he's like taking a lot of money from them, like $10,000, just to tell them, hey, invest into Apple and Microsoft. So and I was in the group, and people knew I was in the group, but he hooked me up, so I got in the group for free. But I knew so many people who like, for one, the audience is pretty much people who don't have a lot of money. So $10,000 is a lot, right? If you're making 50K, 40K a year, $10,000, that's a lot of money. Even $2,500 is a lot of money, and 5,000 because he would discount it here and there. But he wasn't providing the value that justified that price, and I saw so many people get hurt by that, so I ended up doing a review for that, so people had an idea like what you get from the group, and that way you don't waste your money. And he got pissed, but then right after that, my channel did kind of grow. It grew significantly because of that review, and it was like basically like the place where everyone could come and express their anger about how they felt about him and stuff. And but then the fake account started popping up left and right on Instagram, hitting up my followers saying, "How's your trading going? Hey, I have this great opportunity," and it just happened consistently. To this day, it's still happening. And at first, I was, flattered. I was like, "Oh my god, I made it, I guess." But 8 months later, it's fucking annoying. It's annoying that every day there's some other bullshit fake account trying to take advantage of people that's trying to pose as me. So
Yeah, that,
I
that
just
happens
think,
to everybody once you get big enough. I mean, if somebody ever made a fake account with me, I mean, I think people would see right through it because
yeah,
I don't.
it'd be
I
like,
obviously I'm not a troll. So
yeah, it's like, hey, what's going on? How's your trading going? I
like,
didn't know
yeah,
you're trading
that's not
strong,
strong,
man.
man.
So it's always the same shit too. How's your trading going? It's like, fuck, guys, switch it up at least. Jesus. But yeah, no, it's pretty cool. Your channel is very unique because the first time I watched it, I was like, what the fuck is going on? Why do people like this guy? He's odd because you do the whole whoop whoop whoop, and you always usually have your shirts off and you're always screaming and stuff. And then I realized you're kind of playing a character, so you go in and out of character. It seems like for your channel, right? And did you do that strategically on purpose, or was it just something that you're like, I'm gonna have fun, so I'm gonna just do this?
It's just me having fun. I mean, that is kind of what my personality is like. I mean, I'm not obnoxious like that in person all the time, but that is kind of like how I am. I like to be, you know, wild, loud, crazy, especially when I drink. So it's just kind of who I am. I mean, it's fun to me. I enjoy it, so I just kind of do it. But I always try to drop some kind of knowledge, in every one of my videos. But people like that. Some people like to watch me for, the jokes, the antics, and some people like to watch me for the stock analysis. It kind of appeals to a broad base, but it also has a downside because people are used to seeing very professional figures who,
Hmm.
they wear suits like a financial advisor. That's the guy you want to listen to. He's professional. And another reason I kind of do what I do is to me, it's a big troll to be a guy that's shirtless, that screams and puts dicks on people's heads in thumbnails. And I'm actually the guy that's telling you, the truth, the actual way to build wealth. So it's just kind of ironic to me, but it's whatever.
Yeah, the funny thing, the ironic thing about this whole process too, when it comes to like trying to grow your channel on YouTube, and it's quite annoying. You got people like, I mean, you have like your niche of being a troll slash educator, and then you have like the other people like investing with Cole and stuff, and all of us relatively have under 10,000 subscribers, I believe, right? And then the ones who are grifters, the ones who are selling courses and selling you a dream and full of BS, their channels are like 500,000 subscribers, a million subscribers. And it seems like for some reason, the audience likes the fake people more than the real people. They rather listen to the sales pitch and the marketing rather than the person who's like, guys, you don't need this. Just, buy a book or, go get a subscription to CNBC or something. Like we don't do as well as the ones who are literally clearly taking advantage of people. And did you ever like think about that and see like what's going on? Like why is this happening?
Oh yeah, I mean, I've thought about it a lot, but at the end of the day, people just want to be told that they can get rich quick. And if somebody's there promising you that you can 10x your money in a year or two, people
Hmm.
are going to get attracted to that because they don't want to wait forever to get rich. They want to be rich now. And if somebody says they can get rich now, they're going to listen to that person. But the guy that's like, no, you have to work hard and save your money and dollar cost average and index fund. I mean, nobody really wants to hear that. That's not exciting or that's not the path to mega riches. So that's really it. People just want to be lied to.
Are you planning on ever selling anything yourself?
So yeah, so I do have I did it briefly. I had like I called them seminars where I would teach people like, you'd sign up, I charge like $50 a head. And I would teach you a specific subject, like how to read financial statements or like the basics of taxation, stuff like that. Stuff that I'm actually, like decently qualified in because that's the field I work in. So I
Hmm.
did that briefly, but life just kind of got in the way, and my weekends, I didn't really have much. I don't really have much time anymore to do it. So I did that briefly, and then at some point, I'm probably going to make some kind of accounting course. It might be a year from now, it might be 5 years from now, but eventually I'll have some kind of accounting course where it takes you through all the concepts of accounting, how to read financial statements, yada yada yada. Because a lot of people they have no clue what they're looking at, when it comes to financial statements, they just hear a cool story about a stock and they buy the stock because the story's cool. When it's equally important to look at the financials.
Yeah, speaking of that, we should talk about Palantir. You don't like Palantir, right?
I don't.
I don't either. And it seems to have such a huge cult following. It does pretty well in the algorithm, I notice. If you mention Palantir, whether it's good or bad, people come on. But if it's bad, if you tell them the truth, like the company is not profitable, they will argue with you left and right and tell you that you're wrong. Can you give me your, like, I guess, synopsis on the reason why you don't like Palantir? Because I hate it as a
Yeah.
company.
Yeah, so I mean, there's some good things to like about it. I mean, it's a very like it seems like it's in a very niche industry. I don't really know exactly what they do. I really haven't taken the time to like go into the weeds because I don't need to.
Mhm.
So, I mean, they have decent revenue growth and, they have very good gross margins. I guess that's just how their accounting works. But you look at their bottom line profit and they've been massively unprofitable ever since their founding. They've constantly had losses. And uh, a big reason for that is that they have stock-based compensation. Now, when you award employees stock options, when it comes to accounting, it's basically an expense of the business, and you have to expense those stock options over the vesting period. So, what it all means is Palantir is just giving a ton of stock to their employees, and that's causing a huge expense to hit their balance sheet and that all or their income statement. And what that does is that dilutes the shareholders because they're creating, or at some point there will be created more shares,
Mhm.
which means you get less and less of the earnings on a per share basis. So that's why they're massively unprofitable. And they generate positive cash flow, operating cash flow. That's because they're paying their employees with stock, not I mean they're paying with cash. It's like obviously their employees
Yeah.
get salaries, but a big
Yeah,
part
they
of their
get good
compensation
salaries.
is stock options. So that every single report that comes out, it's like they're massively unprofitable. You look why, and it's because of the stock based compensation.
Why do you think they're so popular?
Eh, I don't know. It's just like maybe it's the CEO or what is his name, Alex Karp.
Uh-huh.
Maybe people like him. Maybe a bunch of YouTubers pumped it up and said they were going to 10x, and a bunch of people fell for it. And a lot of people probably just bought the stock when it was in the teens or 20s, and now they're down massively, and they want somebody
Mhm.
to tell them, hey, it's still going to 10x. It's still going to come back.
It's
You're going to make
okay.
all your
It's
money.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're a bag holder. So that
Yeah,
who
I'm
knows?
still telling myself that Square is new JP Morgan. Tell myself that all the time. So no, I agree with you 100%. I actually know what Palantir does. Um can't really publicly talk about it because it is, is in Intel field. Amazing software. I always tell everyone it's like amazing software. The company is shit. The company is shit. The way they run it is shit. Like you said, the stock compensation, they pay their employees personally way too much. They get all these great perks. So working for them is great. The stock option is great. The software is great, but the company doesn't make money, and I don't see it making money anytime soon. Even in every single one of their 10K, they stated we're not going to be profitable anytime. And then you have people like, and I like Ahmed, right? He's another YouTuber out there who's just his whole channel is just Palantir, and he's like, well, no, it's going to be profitable, blah blah blah. I'm like, bro, he said the CEO says this. Okay, the CEO says that publicly, but what does the 10K say? I mean, how important you're a CPA? How important is the 10K when it comes to analyzing if a company is good or not?
Well, from an accounting sense, it's everything. Now, when it comes to the future, I mean, nobody knows the future, and the 10K, while there's obviously there's clues in there,
Hmm.
nobody really knows the future. And stocks are all about where are they going to be in the future. So accounting gives you kind of a story of what's happened to the stock, to the company since its inception. And it gives you information about the risk factors, the business, blah 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 blah. So it's very important, and you should read it. But when it comes to whether you want to buy the stock or not, you also have to factor in where the company's going, and that's where it takes a lot of guesswork.
Yes, and a lot of it is also hopium, right? When it comes to that, you're hoping that it goes X, Y, and Z. I don't see it. I told people publicly I will buy Palantir. I will buy 100 shares when it hits $5, maybe even $6. But the fact that the stock came out, it ran up significantly. Everyone's buying it, and I kept telling people, "Dude, this is not a good company. This is not a good company. Like, it's not profitable. It hasn't been profitable for nearly 20 years. Like, it just went IPO'd. Yeah, but the company's been around for nearly 20 years, moron, and they still haven't made money. They rely heavily on the military contracts. Not only that, they're trying to get into the commercial sector, which is fine. And yes, they garnered a lot of great contracts with commercial companies. But when you look at their deals, they actually lose money on every single contract that they get with these commercial companies. It's like they come in, they're like, "Hey, we have this great software. Um, we'll sell it to you for $5,000." Cool, I accept it, but it costs me $10,000 to build the software. It makes it zero sense. I don't understand why people think this company is going to be the best software in the world. Not only that, it's a niche software, right? What they do for the CIA and for the Intel world is completely different. They do in the commercial sector, and they have to tailor that software to the commercial sector and to whatever company that they are getting these contracts for, which takes time. It also takes manpower and additional personnel that needs to be allocated specifically for that company after they get a contract. It's so much that goes into Palantir, and I think people are just seeing the story and they're falling in love with the story, and I think they're falling in love with the secrecy behind Palantir as well. Like I remember when Amit was live on Echoes, and I wanted Echoes to bring me on so bad because he's sitting there talking about, they used it to catch Bin Laden, and I'm like, no, dude. I was like, well, let me say no, but he made it seem like the reason they caught Bin Laden is because of Palantir. Well, in that case, then Microsoft Office also helped catch Bin Laden. I'm,
All
I'm
those
just
PowerPoint
saying,
slides, you know,
the,
all
the
those briefings.
PowerPoint slides, the coffee mate. Like, no, man, that software, yes, it was utilized for. Can't talk about what it does, but it was utilized for data purposes. It didn't help catch them. It didn't help find them or anything like that. But I guess they had the impression that that's what it's for. And I think if people really find out what it's being used for now, it will completely devastate and destroy the company's reputation. And people just keep seeing the good side stuff. Well, this is what the CEO says. Who gives a fuck what the CEO says? Maybe you should go
CEO is
out and
always going to
list.
be positive, you know.
Of course, it's going to dude. Hertz, the CEO of Hertz, is probably positive. Probably said Hertz is going to be a new Tesla. We're going to produce vehicles eventually. Or no, you know what? Good one, Nikola. There you go. What did that CEO say? He said it's going to be the amazing truck company in the world. We're EV, and it was just a shell. That was it. So people just need to be careful, man, when it comes to these hype stocks. Is it considered a meme?
I would, I mean, it's a legit company. I wouldn't classify Palantir as a meme stock because it maybe has potential at some point in the future. For a meme stock, for me, it's more of like AMC or GME, stocks that I think are just going to go to zero eventually. And I'm not saying Palantir won't go to zero, but at least there's a little bit more. There's more of a bullish case, I think, for Palantir than for GameStop or
An
AMC.
AMC, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing the same trend between everyone that likes Palantir and AMC and GameStop. It drives me nuts. The craziest part, one of my friends texted me one day. He said, "Hey man, when we finally get into investing, I'm thinking about buying AMC." I'm like, "Why?" And he's like, "Well, did you see where it ran up to? It's a meme stock. If you, don't buy it." He's like, "All right, how about GameStop? It went all the way up to." I'm like, "Dude, have you even been in a GameStop recently? The only thing is only alive because of the stocks right now. No one actually goes into GameStop. It's a good for traders. It's not good for investors. So there's definitely a fundamental difference
Oh, it's
when it
so
comes to
easy
that.
to predict which stocks are going to crash 80%. You literally just have to go look for about 10 seconds on the financial statements and you can see, the history of their profits. And if they have like -50% profit margins and they're burning cash hand over fist, which a lot of these companies are,
Mhm.
it's going to crash at some point. I don't know exactly when, but I know what's going to happen. So like when I was looking at all these stocks in 2020, I was like, this is such a freaking joke. And that's when I, started attacking a lot of the stocks and the people behind them on YouTube. And nobody believed me. Everybody made fun of me. And then I'm like, but it loses money. It's trash. And they all crashed 50, 60, 70, 80, 90%.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of you talking about shit about stocks, I saw your video, and I don't agree with you 100% on this one. So I guess this will be kind of like a little quick debate. You did a
Uh-huh.
video on Tesla and covered calls. Um, and you were saying that that's a idiotic thing to do is cover calls, correct?
It's not an idiotic thing to do, But I think specifically if you have Tesla stock, and let's say you have massive gains in Tesla, in my opinion, I think that stock is massively, insanely overvalued. They produce a fraction of the cars in the auto industry. All the cars are extremely expensive. They're luxury autos. And
They are
people
now
really
for
think,
sure. Yep.
yeah, I mean, maybe at some point they'll change. I don't know. But as of right now, with the valuation, I think it's insane. And in my opinion, to hold a stock like that, that's ran up so massively, that's three times the market cap of the next largest automaker. And then you want to hold it so you can generate income from covered calls. In my opinion, you should probably consider selling it, because like why hold the stock that could potentially fall 50, 60, 70% just so you can get some call premium? To me, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, because I watched your video in depth and I was like, I agree with you and I don't agree with you because I do cover calls, by the ways, and I just got introduced to it like 3 months ago. I wish I had known about it 2 years ago. No one spoke about it, but now it seems to be like a trending thing. I'm like, fuck, man. Now when I do a video on it, everyone's gonna think I'm just going for the trend. But I agree with what you're saying. But for example, I have a friend, right? He bought Tesla prior to 2020, before it blew up and went where it was. He had several hundred. Now he has 850 shares after the split. His average is per share $48, right? So to me, I think he's got now 850 shares or 840 shares, and his average is 48 bucks. I think he could afford to do cover calls for Tesla at, like, let's say 300, right? Tesla's currently at 277, I believe, today. And if he does a cover call for 300 1 month out, he could pocket $1,600 off that cover call. If it doesn't hit 300, he's good to go. He pockets that 1,600. If it does hit 300, well, he relinquishes the shares, but he also gets $250 per share as well on top of the 1,600 that he has. So to me, it's kind of a benefit for him to constantly do cover calls on Tesla, whether it's going up or down, because he has it so low. So it's a good way to start generating income.
But what if it drops 50%? Now you're at yeah, he still had a lot of gains, but
Yeah.
if the stock drops 50%, that's a lot of gains that you've given up simply because you want to hold the shares to sell covered calls. Now, if you're bullish on the stock, number
Yeah,
one, I
he's
don't know why.
bullish. Yeah, he's bullish.
So
He thinks
why
he wants to
risk
hold it.
selling the covered call? Like if you think Tesla is going to go to, I don't know, 1,000 per share after the split,
Mhm.
why would you risk? Because like Tesla's very volatile; it goes up and down, up
It
and down.
is.
Why would you risk losing those shares if you think it's going to go to 1,000, for example? I'm not saying it's the worst thing in the world, but my biggest argument against covered calls, it's probably one of the safer option strategies if you have enough shares. But if
Yes.
you're an average investor, having 100 shares of a stock, you're more likely than not going to be very concentrated in that company. Because most companies, I don't know what the average share price is in the stock market, but let's say you have a company that trades at $100 per share. Well, you have to have what, $10,000 invested in
Yep.
that one company to be able to write a covered call. And if you have a portfolio that's only $20,000, half of your portfolio is in one stock.
Yeah,
So
that's not smart. Yeah, that's definitely not smart. So I see what you're saying. Because I honestly I like the strategy because I realized I was doing dividends as well. I didn't have a lot of. I had SBLK. Are you familiar with that one?
no.
It was a
SPLK. I've heard of SPLG.
no, not SPLG. That's like the baby version of SPY. I'm invested in that. I have a lot of shares in SPLG, or I did until I passed my portfolio over to my financial advisor. Now I'm rebuying it. But no, SBLK is a shipping company. It was doing pretty well, but this is the key. I think their dividend yield was 28%. So it's really high up there. So it's one of those momentum plays. Like it's gonna, if they take away that dividend, the shit's gonna crash, right? So you kind of have to go with it up. And I did pretty well with it. I had it and I literally sold it last week at like 28 bucks. So I garnered the little bit of dividends that I got throughout this year. Then I sold all my shares, and literally it's been getting its ass whooped this entire week. It's down to like $19 now. I mean, it was just dropping like hot potatoes. I don't know what happened with it, but I'm like, I'm good. And then the only other one I had was AT&T, but I bought it at like 18 something, and just got rid of it because now I feel like if I could just do cover calls and get that same effect from the dividends with some of the companies I don't mind selling if it ends up hitting the price that I have for the cover calls. Because again, I'm relatively brand into it. I just like that it's such low risk. The reward is also low, but the risk is low, especially for people who maybe want to start getting into trading. Um, that's where like you said, if you have $20,000, I'd rather you do some cover calls instead of just trying to do some basic calls of puts thinking you're going to get rich overnight, is my opinion, because I think you could end up losing your entire bag doing that.
Yeah,
So
options like in my opinion, I think they're really dangerous. I mean, obviously, covered calls is probably one of the safer ways to do it.
yes.
But if you don't know what you're doing, like you're just this brand new investor and you start trading options, I mean, you could just get annihilated in an instant, and you would have no idea what happened. You
But
know,
yeah, but people just look at the upside to it, right? They're like, I can make 300% in like a week. Yeah, but you can also lose
it can go to
everything in
zero.
a week.
It
Yeah,
expire
it can
worth.
go to zero. Yeah,
So
that's
I stay away.
yeah. I mean, hey, your strategy obviously is working. Your book is very interesting. I didn't finish reading it all. I just started reading it not too long ago. It's hilarious. I like it. I, it's funny. It's funny. The title alone is funny, and I think everyone should definitely buy it. I will put the link in the description below, so definitely support them and check it out. But I want to talk to you a little bit about your going from a troll to becoming a friend with one of the grifters. So is that like, are you really friends with me, Kevin? Like I know you used to always shit on him and stuff, and then somehow you guys end up becoming cool, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're friendlier to each other now. Like I wouldn't consider him my friend. Like my friend is like I have friends here in Virginia. I go out to the bar and hang out with them, and I
Yeah,
know their family. Like that's a friend. Kevin is somebody like I don't really I don't hate him. You know, and we'll text like maybe once a month. You know, like and it's more like almost it's usually business related.
hmm
So I wouldn't. He's an acquaintance, but he's not a friend. Probably the best
got
way.
you. But how did it even happen? Like, how do you? It's just it's just fascinating seeing that you built, you didn't build your platform, but your platform really took off from you like shitting on him selling all his stocks and stuff and grifting and you know promoting these shit stocks to like you guys exchanging numbers and talking. Like, how did that even happen?
Yeah, and a lot of people were not happy about it, but basically how it all shook down was, I was attacking him, and he actually agreed to come on my channel and debate me, which was shocking to me because I didn't expect him to ever like address me or answer me or confront me. And I actually gained a lot of respect for the guy because he literally came onto a channel. I had like 3,000 subs at that point,
hmm
and he actually sat there for an hour and let me grill him in front. I think that video got like 30 something thousand views. I mean, he came and had the balls to do it, and I respect that. That doesn't mean that I support his the stocks that he buys, and if he ever gets back into that whole thing where he's pumping trash stocks again, yeah, I'll criticize him. And I've criticized him multiple times after I've confronted him. But it's really difficult to confront somebody, meet somebody face to face, and then, well, at least over the YouTube airwaves, and then later on talk trash about them after you already talked to them face to face, man to man. So it got a lot more difficult for me to be like, oh, he's a freaking idiot, loser, dumbass, blah 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 blah. Like it's just a lot harder to do that because it's like, dude, why didn't you say that to my face? You know what I'm saying?
That's interesting. Do you think that's actually maybe his strategy is like, you know what? I'm going to reach out to the haters who don't like me, let them grill me. I'm going to explain my side, and maybe they might see me differently.
Oh,
Because he's
100%.
Yeah, because he's done it. 'Cause it's just shocking. Because I know, like you said, like you only had 3,000 subscribers. Echoes only had 3,000 subscribers, and I saw the video and I was like, I respect him for a guy who nearly has 2 million subs to come onto a small channel, and allow that person to debate him. I respect him for that. He did show up drunk on Echoes. At least that's what I thought. Allegedly, he watching it, I was like, I probably wouldn't have shown up like that, but he did it. And honestly, watching it, I did see him differently, but I also saw him as like a sad human being who doesn't really have a lot of friends. It seems like maybe he was reaching out to the haters to be like, "Hey, I'm actually a really nice guy. I'm just trying to make a living. This is kind of like what I'm doing. Please like me." It's kind of what it. what it
Yeah, I
seemed
mean,
like in that video.
I don't know the guy on like a real personal level. People think I like talk to him every day. I mean, like I
Yeah.
might
Well, it's
text him.
funny. I mean, because
I
you
might
say it's
text him
like
like
me and him
once
are
a
best
month.
friends. That's funny.
But I mean, maybe I don't know what's going on in his personal life, but it's got to be hard to have 2 million people following you, and then you imagine all the hate that he got, including from me. You
Yeah.
know, when he sold all his portfolio. Like, I mean, I get hate on my channel, and it normally doesn't bother me. Sometimes it gets annoying, but imagine like having 2 million subs and then just having that amount of hate amplified. And then he
Amplified.
lost
Yeah.
all his friends, like in the millennial money crowd. Maybe he's going through hard times. I don't
It
know.
is. Yeah. And that's why I try not to give the guy that much shit. I mean, I've never been the guy who really like goes down me, Kevin. You guys already do that. So I kind of stay out of it. But like literally when I watch it just as a human being, I kind of empathize with him for a while. I was like, man, I actually kind of feel bad for this dude. I mean, even though he's full of shit on some of the stuff he was saying, I was just like, I can only imagine. I don't have that many subscribers. I honestly don't even care when I get hate. Like you, I don't give a shit. Say that to my face if you see me, and then we can have a conversation. I guarantee it will go differently. But I can only imagine when we have 2 million subscribers and a million of those people hate you now because you sold all your shares and stuff that you were pumping up, and it probably can mess with your conscience, and you can probably mess with your mental health as well. So it's pretty interesting. Do you think that you would actually change your opinion about Jeremy as well if he ends up coming on your channel and speaking to you?
I don't think so. And you know, Kevin has done some like very shady things. I'm not gonna support like all the stocks that he pumped. I think those were stupid stocks, and I don't think he's a great stock investor. But Jeremy, I think Jeremy is evil. I think he's conniving and evil. I really do, because like the amount that he was charging people to be so incompetent, he just has to know what he's doing. He's just a very nasty person. I mean, he comes off as this nice guy that, oh, look at my stocks. Oh, I'm positive. Stocks are going to the moon. He's got a dark heart, is all I'll say about him. So, I mean, I don't know. I'll never meet the guy personally, I think, because at this point, if he hasn't confronted me, I don't think he's ever going to do it.
Yeah, yeah, he's probably not going to because he does kind of strike me as like, oh, he seems like a likable guy, and I was happen to watch Everything Money, and they used to always shit on him as well. Then all of a sudden you're like, you actually remind I actually like him. I'm like, whoa, what happened here? What changed? And apparently it was a conversation. So
Yeah,
who
that
knows?
that that wouldn't happen. Like if I talk to Jeremy for 30 minutes, like, oh, he's actually a great investor. No. I mean, even after meeting Kevin, I don't think Kevin is a good stock investor. But I'm not
It's like
gonna
I
say, oh,
don't
he's
know.
not.
Maybe Tattoo Chef might actually 10x guys. You never know.
Yeah. I'm
You
sure
never.
it will, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure it
Yeah,
will.
you never know, man. Well, hey, listen, I really appreciate you sitting down. It's been more than an hour, so I definitely appreciate your time because I know you didn't have to do this. You don't really know me and stuff, so I definitely appreciate you sitting down. For someone who kills grifters, what defines a grifter? By the way, is like what will you determine? Because you even said you sell courses yourself, or you have planned to, or seminars. Like, what would you consider a grifter? Like right now, if I decide, hey, I'm gonna do a course on investing 101 because that's what first and foremost. I'm an investor. I do investing 101. I'm gonna charge $350. Would I be considered a grifter?
It really depends. I mean, there's no like cut and dry definition. I mean, in some respects, people will always think you're a grifter no matter what you do. Like when I sold a $50 course to teach accounting and I'm a CPA, people called me a grifter. I was like, okay, I'm a grifter, I guess. But basically, if you're teaching something and you're telling people lies that they can get rich quick, and you're taking money from them, for your courses or whatever, that automatically, I think, makes you a grifter. Now, if you have knowledge and your expertise in your field and you charge a reasonable price, which that's relative,
Yeah,
but
that's subjective. Yeah,
sometimes
very
it's,
subjective. Yeah,
yeah, sometimes it's obvious, like 10 grand or 20 grand to get a stock course, like that's obviously
that's
unreasonable.
crazy. Yeah,
Yeah, but if you have no idea what you're doing, and you're charging that much money, you're probably a grifter. So I mean, really, at the end of the day, it's somebody that teaches you lies. Oh, you can beat the market doing this, or you can
hmm
become a millionaire in the next 2 years if you do this. If you sell lies, you're a grifter.
got you. All right, that's good to know. I'm gonna start selling a course. No, I'm kidding. I'm not. I'm not. I don't.
I'm an
I don't.
athlete.
Yeah, no, I don't. I don't plan on selling courses or anything. The only thing I'm doing or planning on doing is just affiliate links to the programs and softwares that I use that I actually like Simply Wall Street. Have you heard of that one?
I have. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. It's not that expensive. It's like $20 a month. TradingView, I use that obviously to chart stuff like that. And then books, Amazon. Like I always have links to books that I like to read because I read a lot, especially with my ears. That works best for me. I get most of my reading done with my ears, so it works out. But yeah, other than that, so what's the plans for you, man, moving forward? Since you're gonna start, I guess, backing off a little bit of being the grifter killer. What's the plan?
Honestly, it's still in the works, but I mean, like, I have the ability to read financial statements. I could literally talk about every stock in the stock market. So obviously, I'm going to talk about a lot of stocks. I'm going to do more of just like like reacting to news stories that I think are BS. I, I'm going to do a bunch of stuff. And maybe I'll throw in some, making fun of Jeremy every once in a while. I just don't want, because I really enjoy making fun of it. I have like a sick pleasure in doing it. But it's just not going to be every video. Oh, Kevin's stupid. He farted. Or Jeremy had a fight with his wife. Oh my God. Like I'm just tired of that crap. So there's no solid plan in place, but I'm going to do YouTube videos, whatever strikes my fancy. Oh, I want to talk about this stock today. Oh, I want to react to this article. Oh, this happened in the stock market today. What are my thoughts? That's kind of what I'm going to do going forward.
Yeah, are you planning on writing another book?
Oh yeah. I actually started a book when I was in the hospital. My wife was giving birth to my daughter. She wasn't actually giving birth while I was writing.
Is that breaking news? Is that breaking news? Is that
Oh
breaking
no,
news?
no.
Oh, okay.
No, that's the girl, the 3-month-old.
Oh,
But
okay.
I was like,
Okay.
yeah, I was like sleeping in the hospital, after she gave birth. I was on the little crappy couch in the corner. I was like, oh, I'll just start writing my
The
book.
worst.
So it'll get done at some point. We'll see.
Yeah, definitely. I might actually pick your brain, man, one day. I started writing a book too, like 2 years ago. I haven't picked it up since. So,
Oh yeah,
someday,
love talking about it.
someday,
I'll have to charge
I'll-
you $50K to talk to me.
hey, it sounds good, man. I'm down for it. It's gonna take me from 0 to 1 million in one week on Amazon.
Yeah, you want to get rich? I mean, hey man, you got to pay the money.
It definitely works. Now, hey, man, listen, Chris, I appreciate it again, everyone. It's Christopher Bell. You can buy his book on Amazon. I'm gonna put the link below. It's basically Stop Being a Broke Loser. Tell everyone where they can find you.
My channel is called Strongman Personal Finance. But if you type in Meet Kevin, I'm sure I'll pop up as well.
At one point,
It's Strongman Personal Finance.
yeah. Are you on Instagram or Twitter or anything like that?
I am on both, but I hardly use it. I have like maybe 50 to 100 followers a piece. I'm on there, but don't look for me to be posting or doing anything. So it's
All right.
mostly just YouTube and a little bit of I have a Facebook page, got like a couple 100 people on there, but I don't really post on there either.
Facebook. What are you, old?
I like Facebook, man. It's like free. It's free photo storage. Every time I take photos of my kids, I just upload them and they're on there for free.
Yeah, dude. I'm barely ever on Facebook. I'm an Instagram guy. I get distracted by the women. Don't tell my wife. She's gonna watch this. I'm in trouble. I am in trouble.
Oh,
So, all
Instagram
right.
actually annoyed me, man. But yeah,
Yeah, no, I got into Instagram back in the day because I have a photography business as well. I do real estate photography, and I used to be for photographers. And then all of a sudden, the thoughts came on, and then now it's just everything. So it is what it is. But who knows? But again, hey, Chris, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much. And again, hopefully, maybe I could bring you on one day again. We can talk about some other stuff. But until then, everyone, remember, make sure you subscribe on my channel. Also, subscribe to Strongman Personal Finance's channel. The links will be below in the description. And of course, everyone, make sure you click that bell button to get notified every single time I drop a video. And click a thumbs up if you enjoy this content. Until next time, peace out, everybody.